Just then there appeared to be a woman with a spirit that had crippled her for 18 years. She was bent over and was quite unable to stand up straight. When Jesus saw her, he called her over and said, "Woman, you are set free from your ailment." When he laid his hands on her, immediately she stood up straight and began praising God. But the leader of the synagogue, indignant because Jesus had cured on the Sabbath, kept saying to the crowd, "There are 6 days on which work ought to be done. Come on those days and be cured, not on the Sabbath day." But the Lord answered him and said, "You hypocrites! Does not each of you on the Sabbath untie his ox or his donkey from the manger and lead it away to give it water? And ought not this woman, a daughter of Abraham, whom Satan bound for 18 long years, be set free from this bondage on the Sabbath day?" When he said this, all his opponents were put to shame, and the entire crowd was rejoicing at all the wonderful things that he was doing. There are so many failures in the world, so many people that we see and say, those people are never going to amount to anything. They'll always be good for nothing. She'll always be a fool. And we see these people and we just get this idea in our heads that there's no way whatsoever that they will ever be good for anything. There was a man who had a dream to write. We all have dreams. So many people dream different things, but other people say, no. You're not good enough for that. This man wrote a novel and he sent it out there to publishers and it was denied 33 times. And finally that was enough for him. He said, "The heck with it." And he took the manuscript and threw it in the trash. The end. This man over here, he wasn't very bright at all. He didn't even speak until he was 4 years old. It wasn't until he was 7 that he was even barely able to read. His teachers always told him that he was a fool, and when he was 16, he was not only not allowed to get into the high school in his local town, but a letter was written from the teacher to his parents saying, "This young man will never amount to anything. He's done." In today's society, we would create an IEP and call him learning disabled. And we would put him in a special group and say, well, at least strive to be good enough. You're never going to excel. We may not say it out loud, but at least we're thinking it. This man over here, he was a captain in the army. He got demoted to private by the time he was discharged from the military. Once he got out, he didn't know what to do with himself, so he tried starting these different businesses. 10 different businesses he tried to start and failed in every single one of them. Everybody around thought this guy will never do anything good. He tried to run for political office. Failed. 3 times he tried. Couldn't get in. This man over here was a reporter working for the Kansas City Star. He got fired and he was told that he was dumb and that he lacked imagination. They said a good reporter needs imagination to be able to tell a story, even a true story, but it has to be told in a slant to make it exciting. And you, sir, lack imagination, so he was given the boot. This man over here wanted to be a performer. What he was told by the stage manager when he got this big break at the Grand Ole Opry was told that he was a terrible singer and a terrible dancer and performance was not for him. He should go back to driving the truck. Because that's the only thing that he was really able to do. This woman, she was a B-list actress and she was told she was lucky to even be able to be a B-list actress. In fact, she was told that she was better off giving up her career in acting. She was just no good. Her own drama instructor told her that. You're never going to make it big in acting. So give it up. And finally, this woman over here, same thing, wanted to be a singer, a performer, an actress. She was told by people, by a male manager, that you, my dear, look okay, but you would be much better off as a secretary. How many women have been told that? You, my dear, would be much better off as a secretary. You would be much better off serving men because that is your place. There's a time for everything, right? Well, we just weren't ready for an African-American president. Right now, we're just not ready for a woman president. But the time will come. Eventually. It's not about politics. And nobody's being sexist or racist or anything like that. No, of course not. But, there's a time for everything, and I'm not just really sure if America's ready. How many people have been told that they're not good enough? Based on what? Based on their gender? Based on their intellectual capacity or the way it's perceived by others? Based on what? So many people are told that they will never succeed, that the dreams that they have are foolish, that they need to wake up to reality and settle for something that they can actually achieve so they can have a sense of accomplishment in life. Settle for good enough. And that's how this woman was when she was walking along with her back hunched over, looking only at her feet and the ground 1 to 2 feet ahead of her. That's all she could ever see. Because she assumed the posture that the world had told her to assume. You are not good enough. Be who you are supposed to be, which is just a woman, especially back then. Right? You are just a woman. And so the woman assumed her posture, slumped and bent over, defeated, looking at the ground, never looking up to look anybody in the eye, until that day that she encountered Jesus. Now, there's something to be said about perseverance. And I'm not sure if in her perseverance that she just kept going on through life and just happened to stumble upon Jesus and become healed. Maybe so. Or maybe she heard that there was this healer in town. And maybe accidentally on purpose, she stumbled onto his path, thinking just maybe, he'll be able to do something. Maybe he'll be able to lift me up. We don't know. But we know that this woman stumbled on through life with no sense of worth, with the same feeling as Jeremiah had, saying, God, I am not good enough. I can't even speak. And God said, who are you to tell me that you're not good enough when I have put my word on your mouth? Our words matter. We go throughout our days seeing people who are hurting, but do we notice them? Do we see it in their eyes? Do we see it in the look in their face? Do we see it in their defeated posture? And maybe we notice, and maybe we think, well, who am I? Maybe they'll think I'm kind of weird by saying, hey, you look beautiful. Hey, you're a great person. Who am I to say that? But who are we not when God has put those words in our mouths to encourage other people and to tell them, you are good enough? That's what God told this prophet. You are good enough because I have chosen you for this. I have equipped you for this. I have called you to this, and therefore you will succeed at this. And this is what happened when Jesus encountered this woman. She's walking along saying, this is good enough. This is my lot in life, to be like this. And Jesus said, the heck it is. Stand up straight and look people in the eye because you are good enough. Notice what he called her. He never used these words on anybody else. Never. When the Pharisees were complaining about Jesus healing on the Sabbath, he said, this is a daughter of Abraham. Now think about that. What are the implications of that? Abraham had a promise from God, right? His wife was barren. There was no way they were going to have any kids. God makes his promise. You are going to have children more than the stars in the sky that you can see in the heavens. And what did they do? Abraham and Sarah laughed. She was barren. But then she started having babies. And they started having babies. Boom, 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 boom. And they became an entire nation. And so for Jesus to say to this woman, you are a daughter of Abraham, was to say, you are a promise from God. Your existence was in my eye and in my mind and in my heart before you even really existed. Long before your parents even knew that you would exist. I knew. And I knew exactly what I was making you for. And I did not make you in my image so that you can be slumped over and listening to people telling you that it's good enough just to be in this position, that you're just a woman, so you're not good enough. I did not make you for that, so stand up. Have some confidence. Have some pride. He empowered her with his words. And the words we use are so important. We can tear people down or we can build people up. We have that power with our words. That's exactly what God told the prophet. You've got power in your words because I have given you those words. And so there's no way that anybody made in the image of God should be walking around defeated. Should walk around feeling that they're worthless. Because each and every one of us has worth. Each and every one of us has a meaning. Each of us has a purpose in life that God put in our hearts and in our beings before we were even born. A plan. Like we read yesterday in our leadership team meeting. Right? Not plans to harm you. Plans to prosper you. Plans to bless you. Plan for hope. This is the message that Jesus was telling her. You're not just some random woman. You're not just somebody who stumbled along the road and was a part of the crowd. No, you are special. And don't let anybody, especially these men, tell you that you are anything less. So stand up and be the person that I've made you to be. And you know what? She did. Straightened up her back. After 18 years, she finally looked at the world as an equal instead of somebody who's subservient. And I'd like to think that she looked that Pharisee in the eye and said, I got you. But he said, okay, fine, you did this healing thing, all right, but there are 6 days to be doing it, and not on the Sabbath. You know the rules. And Jesus is going, Sabbath? What is the meaning of Sabbath, sir? Please tell me. Sabbath means we rest and we don't do anything at all? Is that what Sabbath means? And Jesus basically told him, no, Sabbath is a vision. Sabbath is a foretaste of the coming kingdom of God. Sabbath is a day when people should live at peace with one another, in love and in harmony. So I have showed you a piece of the kingdom of God by empowering this woman, by encouraging her, by telling her to stand up, to show what a world would look like where everybody is co-equal, where everybody is loved, where everybody is respected. And I have observed the Sabbath the way that it was meant to be observed, not the way that you have created it to be. Don't you untie your animals from the manger and take them out to drink? Can this woman who has been this way for 18 years, does she not have the right to stand up proud and tall and to claim who she is? Whenever we feel that we're not good enough, we have to remember that we were created with a plan. A plan that we may or may not understand, but a plan that exists nonetheless because it was given to us by none other than our Creator. And we have to be looking for that path. We have to be looking for that road. Sometimes people will tell us that our ideas are crazy, and they say, man, if you try that, you're going to fall flat on your face. And you're going to have to look at them and say, okay, let me fall. Let me fall. Because God will catch me. God will pick me up. And eventually, I'm going to get it. Eventually, I'm going to figure out what it is that I was supposed to be doing. And at that time, I'm going to do it. So let me fall if I must fall. I won't heed your warning. I won't hear you. You want to be a naysayer? I'm not going to listen. That's the message here. And not only should we be lifted up and encouraged, but remembering that we have the power with our words to lift up and encourage others. Whether it's physically extending a hand to pick somebody up, or using the words that we know that God has put upon our lips to tell them, you are special, you matter, you are a child of God. Stand up and be counted among the rest of us. Well, I wonder how it worked out for all those people that I told you about in the beginning who were told that they were no good. Well, you kind of know me by now, don't you? Luckily, when that young man threw his manuscript in the garbage, his wife came right along and picked it up and sent it out again. I think Stephen King is a pretty good writer. When this man in the military who couldn't do anything but fail, who couldn't make a business right to save his soul, who couldn't get elected into political office, well, he eventually did, and he freed the slaves. This idiot child who would never amount to anything, who couldn't speak till he was 4, who couldn't read until he was 7, he sucked at math, but he eventually got better. I think Einstein was a pretty smart dude. Who else did we have here? Oh, the man without imagination, yes, of course. Couldn't dream up anything to save his soul, except for Disney World and Mickey Mouse and little things like that. What about that performer? Boy, he should just go back to driving trucks. Or someday we may crown him as the king, Elvis Presley. What about those women? You're lucky to be a B-list actor. Did she listen to him? Nope. She kept trying. She got her own show, Lucille Ball. And what about that other woman? The one who was told, you'd be better off as a secretary. I think Marilyn Monroe did pretty well. She kind of messed things up in the end, but hey. It doesn't matter what we're told. It doesn't matter the label other people put on us. We are not the product of our fathers or our mothers or what people think about us. We are children of God, made in that God's image. We are made to do great things. And it's time now. It's time now that we stand up, just like Jeremiah, and realize that the word of the Lord is on our lips. Just like that woman, to stand up straight and look everybody in the eye and say, I was made for this, and I'm going to do it. It's time. So this next song